welcome to Tonic Studios. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Lots of you seem to be joining us already. Now, this week we're
actually on time. Sorry to interrupt. I think this is the first time we started on time. Like it's actually 8 o'clock.
So we're on time. And today we have a launch for you. So we even have a special sign that I actually managed to get from the Creativation booth, and I've been hiding it ready to do our first die launch. Tonight we are launching the new adorable stamp and dies from Tonic Studios, and they really are adorable. I can't wait to share them with you. We did some fab samples for Creativation. You can see some of them behind me. I've got some on my desk I'll be showing you tonight. I'm also going to be showing you some of my colouring tips. We have a 10% off coupon for the entire store, and plus I have some other coupons to share with you. We do of course have our regular Wednesday night giveaway. If you are new to the Tonic Studios USA Live, welcome. We have a giveaway every single week, and we have special coupon codes that we share with you throughout the show. So if you want to get in on the giveaway, what do you have to do? Well, you have to share this video. You can share it as many times as you would like. Each time you share it, leave us a comment below to let us know you shared it, where you shared it. It can be your Facebook page, your crafty Facebook page, crafty groups that you're in. Just let us know. Leave us a comment to let us know that you shared it, and then at the end of the show I will announce a winner. If you watch this on YouTube afterwards, the giveaway is unfortunately closed, but we hope you'll join us next Wednesday at 8 PM Eastern over on the Tonic Studios Facebook page. However, all of the coupons are valid for an entire week, so you can check those out in the video description if you're watching on YouTube. So those are still valid. Now, let's see who is with us this evening. We have Michelle is with us. Hi, Michelle. Nanette's here. Terry, Suzette, Andre's here. Beverly's here. Lots of you with us too. I'm just scrolling through. Wendy's here. Dee Dee's here. Jane is here. And lots of you are joining us too. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday evening. And so what have we got to share with you? Well, I have a fantastic selection of stamps and dies. I'm going to scoop up here. Now, of course, I'm going to start with the hedgehogs. So these are all clear photopolymer stamps. They're absolutely adorable, hence the name Adorables. So this is the hedgehog, and I've lots of samples to share with you. So our hedgehog who's holding a daisy, has little hands together, he's doing a dance, he's just kind of crawling along here. Lots of fun sentiments. I believe in you. Thank you for everything. You're awesome. A little something for you. A little one to say. There's even a ladybird and a snail and some leaves. So you can do some really fun things with these hedgehogs. And they all have coordinating dies available too. So that's another option. And you can use your 10% code on these. They're loaded into the store. They will start shipping out on Monday, I believe. So they're available for you to purchase now, and they will start shipping on Monday. We also have these fun kitties, which I just adore. There's the two of them hanging on the washing line inside of socks there. We have our little kitty with their hat on there. We have one meow, we have butterflies and birds, we have watering cans and flowers, and then we just have our little purring kitty. Let's hang out together. Meow means I love you. How adorable. And again, we have the coordinating dies for all of those. Then we have our skunks called Scent with Love. We have our tree stump for them to sit on, and lots of the elements are interchangeable between them too, which is something I really love. We have our one kind of looking very pleased with themselves, and these two pair together perfectly. We have one just kind of sitting there, one prancing along. We also have a bunny in this one, which is a fun option. I'm Stinking of You, Scent with Love, lots of fun things. And there's a thought bubble, which I like too. And you can add a bow in their hair, which is just a fun option. And I did add the bow into one of the hedgehogs, I think, in one of the samples too. So you can very much mix and match. And then you have the coordinating dies. We have Go For It Gophers. So congrats on your new job. Go for it. We have the fun gopher here with his hands together. We've got the one digging. We have the carrots popping out, which again you could pop into Easter cards for other elements with the bunny you just saw. And we have the one, kind of the other option of going down and then coming up on this side. And again, you coordinating dies. We have the elephants. This is Greg's favourite. Greg loves the elephants.
I like the elephants.
So we have the fun elephant. We have the baby elephant. The baby elephant almost flying through the air. The one looking up. The little mouse with his piece of cheese. A Day You'll Never Forget, Go Nuts, balloons, we have top hats, so all sorts of fun things that you can do with this one. Again, coordinating dies. And then we have Sammy Takes It Easy. So we have our sloth, one climbing up, one kind of hanging out, one having a nice little nap down here. Hang on in there, take it easy, nap now, party later, you deserve it, time to chill. All those fun things, and of course your coordinating dies. So I'm just trying to also, Greg's asking you what your favourites are. Lots of you checking in too. Dee Dee's here. Maureen's just come in from Hawaii. Dee Dee's loving the hedgehogs as well. What are your favourites? Lots of you loving these sets, loving the skunks and the gophers. Hi Corinne, hope you're well. Just joining us too. So let's show you some of these samples. We created lots and lots of samples for Creativation. This was my favourite, of course, it's the hedgehog, and it was super easy as well. So I blended a background with my Distress Oxide. So I took 3 shades of Distress Oxide in the background. I coloured in a couple of the hedgehogs and a little snail here. These are the new Dream in Colour glitter accents, and the 2 crystal drop colours. And then all I did was take 2 regular heart dies and just die cut a white panel and pop that on the front and create some little heart-shaped windows. And again, it just creates a really nice little kind of accent for something a little bit different. So rather than having to create a scene or something for them to be in, you can create windows just using your regular basics dies, whether that's a circle, a heart, a square, an oval. You can use your basics dies to create something a little bit different. And then I added a snail down here and just a little flick of green just to make it look like he was kind of crawling along that base. So again, really, really easy, but just stretches the dies you already have, and another way for you to use your stamps. Then here we have the skunks. So this one I used a wreath builder, which is a symmetrical stamping tool, and I did my skunks all the way around and coloured them in. Again, use some of those new Dream Drops and the new purple embossing powder from the Dream in Colour collection, and I just coloured them in. And again, I matted this on some of the beautiful Craft Perfect papers. So I did lots of matting on this one to add interest and kept my centre very simple. So I did a layer of the black satin, the black velvet, and then I did the new Dream in Colour, that mirrored green cardstock, and then I did glitter white, glitter black, and a white card base. This one over here is some more new dies. So this is that film strip die, and I used a textured background paper, the black glitter cardstock. I die cut 2 of those film strips, one at the bottom, one at the top, and then I cut the Polaroid here and popped my gopher going in and going out, top and bottom, always remember. And again, just a few Nouveau drops. Really easy, but just ways to stretch dies you might already have in your stash, and ways to use those new scrapbooking dies for your card making. This is one that the design team created, but I thought it was super, super cute, so I had to pick it out. Meow, Let's Hang Out Together. Beautiful colouring. They sponged some clouds in the background here with their inks. Lovely colouring in here. And they actually made it look like the cats were hanging in the clouds, which I just thought was really, really pretty on there. So that's another option. The elephants, again, I did the same thing with the wreath builder. So I did them all around. And then lots of matting again. So I used all the different glitter cardstocks here in the red, the white, the blue, the silver, and the black. So it's not too much bulk on here, but it does just give it a nice amount of sparkle. You can kind of see it glittering a little bit on there. And then on the top of the balloons, I added that Morning Dew Nouveau drops. So my balloons are nice and rounded and glossy. So they really look like they're flying. My elephants look like they're flying and kind of dancing around the balloons. And I use that new Strip Sentiment Celebrate die. It's got the black, the red rather, gold glitter paper, get my words out. And I put a little bit of vellum behind it just to separate it out, just so it pops out with that second layer. Sloths, again, I did the same thing, so they all interlink together. And then I used that some textured new Craft Perfect paper, and then the new Dream in Colour embossing powder down the bottom there. on the black velvet paper. Now you all know how much I love my black velvet paper, and I have a coupon to share with you for 30% off all the Craft Perfect papers for the whole month of March, so I'll share that with you shortly. And then along the front here over there, the design team, I think Jenny did this card. That's a no line colouring using the kitten. So let's hang out together. I think she did a gorgeous job of this one. And this one here with the Go Nuts Dream Big. So again, she took her basics dies, her circle dies, and she created some fun places to pop her elephants into. And she used that Morning Dew on the balloon. So it creates that nice kind of glossy rounded balloon on there. So that Morning Dew is a really, really versatile Nuvo drop because it dries clear. There's just so many different things you can do with it. And it creates that little bit of dimension and gloss onto your cards without adding any kind of bulk. This is another design team card. They used strips of the Nuvo adhesive to create glitter stripes to their own paper. Isn't that a fun idea? Look how much sparkle they've got in the background. And then they created their own elephants from the circus. What a fun idea for Go Nuts. I think what a really gorgeous idea. Whether you wanted to do this for an adult or a children's birthday card. But again, super simple because this is one of their Circle Basics dies, one of their Tonic dies. And then they've just used strips of the adhesive paper, or you could use some of the thicker adhesive tape. And you can create your own glittery backgrounds just by laying the tape down. We've got another watercolour no line technique. Some of these are a little bit sticky on the back because we had them stuck in the booth. So I laid them down. But again, just created this beautiful wreath around the outside, put a few Nuvo drops in there. And then this is done with the watercolour pencils. So much texture in there, such an amazing colourist, some of these girls in here. Absolutely gorgeous. So there's this one. And then we have a couple more down the front here that were also watercoloured. We've got this one here with the sloth, which I just think is really fun. And this one looks really delicate too. When you think of my sloths that look kind of quite cartoony, this one looks far more delicate. We've got a very whimsical elephant here with, I love, again, we've got the Morning Dew on those bubbles. So they really do look like rounded glossy bubbles. And then we have another gopher over there, which is just super fun. I mean, how fun is that gopher? And all of those elements on the gopher are actually popped up with foam tape, so it's a really kind of dimensional card. And then behind me, we have a few more cards here. So we have one over here, which is done with the ink smushing with the hedgehog. We've got the I Believe in You. Again, using that basics dies to create a really fun circular pattern. I love this Dream Big with the elephants here. I think this is beautiful. Again, ink sponging in the background with those hybrid Dream and Colour ink cubes, just to create that really beautiful background. Another scene created with the gopher here. So again, that's using those rectangular basics dies to create our own kind of comic scenes and be able to create fun scenes on our cards. And then on the other side, we have some more gophers with congrats on your new job. How fun. All done in their different colours. For this one, they used the rectangular frame and they popped it up on a nice amount of foam and then created their kitty scene. So it really looks kind of like a scene, and they've sponged some sky in the background. Beautiful kind of spring day. And then for this one, this is one of the US design team members did this, which I really loved. They wove some of the Craft Perfect textured papers in green and then put the hedgehog on the front, which I just thought was a really fun way to create a background. This created a nice amount of texture, but also kind of didn't detract from their hedgehog, which I thought was really, really pretty. So lots and lots of samples and ideas. So I'm also trying to catch up. I know Greg's been replying to your comments too. Karen from the team has just joined us too. Jan's just joined us, and Andre's here too. Michelle's loving those skunks. And she says she's quite surprised because she's never given them a second thought before. Corinne can't decide because they're all adorable, pun intended. Denise is here, and Billy is here as well. Hi Billy, I hope you're well as well. Corinne's going with elephants, that's as far as I've got. She feels like it's her spirit animal most days. So does Greg. Greg's with you on the elephants.
Yeah, I'm all about the elephants.
Will Greg be making a hedgehog card? I don't know. Will you be making a hedgehog card?
Yeah, I could do.
Possibly.
Perhaps do that in the next happy hour.
We've still got to mount up our gel plate thing. So we haven't done a Hedgehog Hollow happy hour because Greg's been away with work and things. So we just haven't had time. But we will be doing another Hedgehog Hollow happy hour. Lots of people loving the elephants. People loving the hedgehogs too. So lots and lots of people loving all the samples. Well, hi Jenny. We've just shown your card. So the elephants and the cat that I showed you, the no-line cat, that was Jenny's sample. So what I wanted to show you was a couple of colouring tips because all of my samples, so the hedgehog and the elephant created with the wreath builder and the skunks and the sloths that I created with the wreath builder, I coloured with the Nuvo alcohol markers. And I get a lot of questions of, well, where do I start when I start with alcohol markers? Because yes, I have a full set of Copics and I love them, but I get they're expensive markers. They're an $8, $9 marker. And if you don't know where to start, if you don't know how to use them, where do you start? Now, I think the Nuvo alcohol markers are a really good place to start because you get 3 markers for, I think it's $7.99. And tonight we have 10% off the entire store that's valid until next Tuesday. And so I think that they come in a blending trios. So for instance, I'm going to grab 3 out, and knowing my luck right now, I'm going to grab 3 that don't even go together. Oh, I did well. This is the Parma Violet combo. So I put stickers on mine because I do a lot of videos. So I want them, so I need to know whether they go together. So this is the Parma Violet combo. So you get 3 in a set like this. And so you get a dark, a mid, and a light. Now, what does that mean? It means that they're going to blend perfectly together. So when you start going with alcohol markers, I'm going to recommend the Craft Perfect Ultra Smooth White because it has a light coating on it, which means it's going to work really nicely with any alcohol marker, whether it's a Copic, a Spectrum Noir, your Nuvo markers, whichever you like working with. And your Nuvo markers are going to come with 2 ends. So you're going to have a chisel tip and you're going to have a fine tip. And so when you start working with an alcohol marker, we'll colour a small image. I'll colour in an image in a second. The first thing you want to do is lay down a good base coat of the lightest colour. So I'm laying down, this is the 433, this is the lightest shade of the Parma Violet. And you're going to lay down a light shade, and you're always going to have a piece of printer paper or something porous underneath. You're never going to colour directly onto your glass mat, because if you do that, you've got more likelihood of bleeding outside of your stamped line. And when you first start, the first thing I'm going to say to you is start blending on vellum. Vellum is a little bit less porous, it's going to give you more time to blend, and you're going to have better experience. Now, I'll give you a couple of other tips as we go along, but then you're going to start with your second colour. And one thing you'll notice about my first colour is you can see it on the reverse side. And that means you know that you've saturated your cardstock. And you're going to overlap. And you're going to go back with your first colour. And you're going to blend the overlap. And so you can see how I've got a nice shade together. Then I'm going to go with my mid shade. And I'm going to make sure I'm nicely saturated again. And it's all about working from light to medium, medium to light. Then I'm going to go in with my darkest shade. Then I'm going to go back to my middle shade. And then I go back to my lightest shade. Make sure my lid goes on. And that's how I get a blend from light to dark. And I do have a little bit of that purple even on my printer paper. But it's gone onto my printer paper, not my glass mat, which means that I didn't get any bleeding on my cardstock. And you'll see when we colour an image in a minute the difference that that makes. And that's what's going to give you that perfect blend. And all of the Nuvo alcohol markers come in these trios. There's also a trio that includes what does it include? It includes a blender pen, a black, and a mid-grey. And there is another one that includes some metallics, which is this one here. that includes a grey metallic, a gold metallic, and a copper metallic. So you have depth and shadows, and you have supreme metallics. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about a blending pen is a little bit of a misnomer. A blending pen does not blend. A blending pen removes ink. So if I had a little bit of a bleed, where's my blending pen gone? It's this one. So if I had a little bit of a bleed, my blending pen is not going to help me blend these two colours together. That's not what it's designed to do. You're going to notice that blending pen is actually bleaching that line there. If I lift this up, that blending pen is bleaching and it's moved that ink there. A blending pen moves ink, it doesn't blend ink. So if I had a bleed, what I would do if it's gone outside of my line, I would push that ink with my blending pen and it's going to correct that. You can see it's moved that ink from where I had it there and it's moved it inwards, right, so I can get closer. So you can see it's moved that ink from out here and it's moved it inwards. So a blending pen is an ink remover, not an ink blender. That's kind of what it should be called. It's a little bit of a incorrect labeling. So a couple of other things. So if you've just joined us, welcome. Tonight is all about the Adorables launch. So we have hedgehogs, we have skunks, we have gophers, we have elephants, we have sloths, we have kittens, we have stamps and dies. We have 10% off at the Tonic store. Don't forget to share tonight's video while we're live, and you could be in with a chance of winning a Tonic goodie bag as always. And let us know that you've shared it with a comment in the comments to say that you've shared it. Let us know what your favorite adorable is. And we're also playing with the alcohol markers, and I'm giving you some of my favorite coloring tips tonight. And also we have some other coupons to share with you. So if you're looking to stock up, there is the March Madness sale on at Tonic Studios. You can check that out. And the 10% off the whole store, which is in the video description, which depending what device you're on, it's sometimes above me, sometimes below me, it's sometimes either side, depending on your device. There is a link there and you can just click that. You don't need a coupon. The discount code doesn't show until you're at the checkout. And that is valid until next Tuesday at midnight. So you can click that link. That coupon stacks on top of the March Madness sale. So you can use that on top of the March Madness, which is awesome. Also, if you are a follower of Hedgehog Hollow, which is my blog, you'll have recently seen I did a lot of Nouveau Drops videos, and some of them covered things we've done in the lives, and lots of you asked for videos. So you'll want to hop on over to Hedgehog Hollow. We have a Nouveau Drops download, which is the difference between crystal accents, Nouveau Drops, glitter drops, dream drops, I'm looking at the wall, jewel drops, glow drops. What have I not said? Glitter accents, don't know if I said that. Vintage drops, but there is a download available there that I did with Tonic, and it's the difference between all the different types of drops. You can download that and that's available to you. There's how to create backgrounds using your new dream drops. There is a video on how to create instant dry Nouveau drops, and also how to create your own instantly sticky enamel drops, enamel dots even, using Nouveau drops. So all of those are available at the Hedgehog Hollow, youtube.com/thehedgehoghollow or facebook.com/thehedgehoghollow. They've also said I can tell you that if you hop to the Hedgehog Hollow, there are 2 exclusive Tonic coupon codes available this month. You could get 30% off your Craft Perfect purchase, or you could get 20% off the stamping category at Tonic. And we have exclusive codes every month for Tonic Studios. So you just might want to hop on over there and give us a follow if you don't already. However, what I did want to share with you this evening is some more of my stamping tips. So let's choose a, what one shall we do? I think I'm gonna do an elephant, as they're Greg's favourite.
Yay!
So, let's do this one. So I'm going to peel off my elephant. I'm going to stamp it out in a Misty. And so again, I'm using this ultra smooth cardstock. I'm just going to stick it inside my Misty. And I'm going to stamp out, she says, using the Nouveau Hybrid black ink pad. Now the reason I use this ink pad in particular is that I can use alcohol markers with it. I can use watercolors with it. I can use color pencils with it. I can use the glitter markers with it. I can use the liquid watercolor pens with it. I can really use any mediums with it, or I can mix and match mediums. I don't have to worry And I think mine is getting a little bit dry because it's very well loved. I don't have to worry about what ink I've used. It's not like I have to worry that I've used a dye-based ink, so now I can only use alcohol things, or I've used an alcohol-based ink, so I can only use dye-based things. I can mix and match, and that's the great thing about using a hybrid ink. It allows me that flexibility. So one thing I'm going to do is, normally I would allow my ink now to just dry for a couple of minutes, but because we're live, I'm going to be impatient and I'm going to heat dry this with my heat gun. Okay, so Greg says it's really all about the cameraman. Did you not think I was going to read the comments, Greg? So somebody said how well.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
Someone was saying how well we're doing, and Greg said it's all about the cameraman. Thanks, Greg.
Fine, you're going out of focus.
So I'm picking out some of the Nouveau Greys. And I'm just going to pull this back so Greg can see it. So this is how I keep all of my alcohol markers. And what I have, this is a cart. You can get either the Raskog cart or the Michaels cart. This is actually the Room Essentials one from Target, which is the cheapest. And then I buy these trays from Etsy. And now they used to be called TJ and Things. They're now called something else. But if you put TJ and Things into Etsy, you'll find them. But I now buy the ones that are round, and they do ones for Copics, they do ones for all sorts of markers. You can also get ones with round holes, and they will hold all of your markers. They have my liquid watercolours in, they have my Nouveau glitter pens in, they have my Nouveau alcohol markers in, and they really do hold everything. I'm also going to grab a light rosy pink for their cheeks. And I think we're good. Now, one thing I always do when I am colouring with alcohol markers is I make myself a little swatch sheet. Even though I have everything swatched in another swatch book, the first thing I will do is I have a piece of paper in front of me and I swatch like this. So I scribble everything out. And it doesn't matter what alcohol markers I'm using, I swatch everything out and I lay my pens out in the order of my swatches. Now, you may wonder why, but it's so I know exactly what I'm doing and exactly what I've got in front of me. I want to make sure I also have that other grey. Okay, this is the lightest grey. So this is the depth and shadows grey, and that's what I'm going to start working with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a base coat. And I'm just going to cover the entire section of my image. And I like to work section by section. So what I'll start with are the ears. So I'm going to saturate the ears. Again, I'm working on that piece of printer paper. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's going to help stop the bleeds. Now, if you struggle with bleeding, work with embossed images. Heat emboss your images because it will help you with bleeding until you work out how much ink to lay down on your paper. How do you know whether you've got enough ink on your paper? Well, you're going to look at the reverse of your image, and if you can see the outline of your image, you have enough first layer ink down. So that's how you're going to know if you have enough down. Now I'm going to pop that back where I had it, and I'm going to move to my next darkest shade. And I'm going to start adding some shadows. What do you do if you have a pen that's too juicy? That was another question I kept getting asked. If you have a pen that is super, super juicy, you take both lids off. So particularly this happens, I think, with Copics more than any other. If you take both lids off, you will find, even when it gets to the fact that it's about to drip, if you lift that second lid off, that drip gets sucked back in. Greg's probably going to tell me that there's some reason that it equalizes pressure somewhere. I don't know why. It was a tip that was given to me a long time ago, but it works. If you have a super juicy pen or you've just refilled your pens, just take that other lid off and you will find that it sucks it back in and it all works perfectly and everything is good with the wild and you don't have any ruined images. Greg's probably now Googling why that happens.
Now I can imagine how like a syringe pulling up would suck it back in. I don't know how taking it off, if any, would help it. I don't know,
but it works. I don't know how it works, but I found out it worked, so.
This shot would be much better with the 24-105 lens, by the way.
Greg really wants a new camera lens.
It would give me more zoom, you'd see it better.
So. He still hasn't filmed a room tour for everyone who asked last week. Nobody sent him any whiskey, so. Okay. So the other thing I've added here is just a little touch of pink inside of his ears because I wanted to add that little bit of kind of Dumbo effect, I guess. Greg's truck's also called Dumbo. I think that's why he has
truck is not called Dumbo.
Affinity to elephants. So what I've done is I've coloured in my light, then I went to my medium, then I went back to my light, then I went to the next, so to my third darkest shade, then I went back to the medium, then I went back to the light. And then I added a little bit of pink and then I went over the top. So there are my ears. So that's how my little elephant ears look.
Very cool.
So you can see
That's
there.
really cute.
And then we're going to do the same with the face. So I'm going to go in with that lightest shade. So again, we're going to saturate.
Can everyone leave a comment if you prefer to be zoomed in a bit more right now? Because if you all gang up on Alex, you'll buy me a new lens.
So the other tip I'm going to share with you about colouring in images is where do you add light and shade? Well, quite often when you're colouring in an image, the artist will give you tips. So if you're colouring in a flower, you'll find if there's cross hatchings, then that means you want to be adding darker shading. I can't colour in with depth and shade upside down particularly well, so I'm just going to turn it round while I add some of that shading. There is also a really awesome online class that I took from Sandy Allnock, and it was relatively inexpensive, but I learned huge amounts about how to divide images into different shapes. So if you are looking for tips for alcohol ink colouring or just colouring in general about how to divide images into shapes, I would recommend go and take her online class. That for me was the best one. Now I have only added 2 colours to that face, but you can already see there is a lot of different kind of depth into that trunk, and that's just with 2 different shades. So you really can achieve a lot just with 2 shades. So if you bought the blending trio of Stormy Greys, you can achieve a lot. So I can now take the darkest of the Stormy Greys, which I can grab here. You keeping up with comments, Greg?
Yeah, everybody says I should get the new lens.
Do they?
Pretty much.
And then the other thing we can do is think about cheeks. So when you look at a lot of people colouring, a lot of people give rosy cheeks, and they do rosy cheeks as a round circle. They're kind of cute, but they're the more kind of cartoony cheeks. So if you want to do a cartoony cheek, you can just add a little round pink circle like that. If you want to add a more natural cheek, you want to do a flick. So you can see the different sides. So on this side, I did a little round cheek, and on this side, I did a flick cheek. And so you can see the 2 different effects that you can get. What were you going to say?
Funny you should know so much about cheeks, dear.
So I'm going to even my cheeks up. And I'm going to very quickly just colour in the rest of the image because I want to give you 2 more quick tips about colouring. And so I'm going to really quickly just colour this in. I'm going to do the pads of his feet a little bit darker because they would naturally be a bit darker.
Pretty sure they're called hooves, dear.
I'm calling them pads. Pads or hooves? I think pads sound much nicer. They probably are called hooves, but I think pads sound nicer.
Yeah, we'll go with pads.
I think pads sound nicer. What other comments have we got, Greg? It's hard to look when you're colouring.
Lots of people saying it's really adorable. People saying they want to zoom and up close. Back before that, they were talking about your leaky, juicy pens, and that seems to work. Somebody interested in trying new markers. I got busted for saying it was all about the videography. Yeah.
So I am just doing some really quick and easy colouring. And I'm limiting myself to 3 pens as well. Because I really want to show you that you don't need, yes, I love having a ton of Copic markers. And yes, I told Greg I needed them all. But you really don't. Well, I've got them all now, so I can say that I don't need them.
She really does have them all. I don't know if you can see this, but they're all hiding over there, the other side. They're tucked away in there. Barely used, but they look lovely. Apparently we needed them.
We did. We do. But the great thing is you get 3 of these pens for the price of 1 Copic. So I'm just adding
Apparently they're not hooves, according to Billy. What are they then? What do elephants have as feet?
I don't know. I'm going with pads. I think pads sound cute. Very adorable for tonight. There we go. Well, there's a very quick and easy elephant. So that is my elephant. You can see there.
What's her name?
Is it a her?
Oh, it's got pink
Nelly?
cheeks.
Nelly? I don't know.
Every elephant's got to be called Nelly.
Nelly. So the other thing I can show you is, where's my blender gone? The white one. So I had a couple of little leaks. So all I have to do is I just take my blender pen, which is not a blender pen, and I just push my ink back inside the line. You may have to do it a couple of times, but it will just tidy up your edges. And you really do want to push your ink. So don't like dab it up and down. Push it back inside your image and it will go. And just let it dry. But there is a very pretty Nelly. You can see it there. And I'd say I stuck to 3 colours, so kind of, you know, you can really do it with 1 set of pens very easily. And then I just added the rosy pinks in the cheeks. But one thing that will really help take your images and make them look super professional is to ground your image, which is what I did with that snail. So colour in an image, but then always make sure you ground it. So whether you just stick it on the card, whether it's just a little snail that sits down here like this, whether, I mean, obviously if it's an elephant flying through the air, you're not going to ground it. But if it's something that you sit and you blend a nice background and things.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why would an elephant be flying through the air?
What if it's holding
Did they hit a catapult or something?
No, but if they're like my elephants that are here and they're flying through the air.
Catapult.
Couldn't Dumbo fly when he flapped his wings?
Well, yeah, he's got big ears, hasn't he?
You're like your truck.
It's not like my truck. My truck called Rocky.
It's not.
It's not Dumbo.
It's. So what you want to do, and this is another thing you can do with alcohol markers, is practice your flicking techniques, because if you practice your flicking technique, you'll find your colouring will improve a lot. So all you want to do is take a marker. I'm going to use the Irish Clover, and all we're going to do is ground our image. So I'm just going to take this I could really do with a lighter one, but this is okay. I could do something lighter. Do I have this lighter? So there you go. So you just ground your image or flower or whatever it happens to be, ground it onto something, and then all of a sudden it goes from an elephant that's in the middle of a page to an elephant that's sitting on the ground or on the grass. And the other thing you can do is you can do little tufts of grass that come up like this. So you can really make the elephant look like they're sitting in the grass. You can take the same. And by angling the pen, and actually if you go to my YouTube channel, I did an alcohol marker skill builder of how to get started with alcohol markers. Everything from starting on vellum to practicing flicking techniques, all sorts of things like that. Now, if your elephant was flying through the air, much to Greg's disgust, you can see that how, instantly that's gone from just a plain elephant sitting in the middle of a white piece of card to an elephant who looks like he's sitting in a field of grass. Don't you think, Greg?
Very cool. He's very cute, actually.
Now, something else you can do for your elephant who flies through the air, yes, I know, Greg, I can see you rolling your eyes even though I'm not looking at you, is you can take something such as a light blue and just start colouring the edge of your image. So say, for instance, you wanted to colour something that was going to be in the sky, just colour a small amount around the edge of your image like this. And again, if this was too dark for you, if you wanted something lighter, take your blender pen. Because remember, your blender pen bleaches, it doesn't blend. So you could turn this into an even lighter shade of blue. But you can create yourself the illusion of your elephant sitting in a blue field. And then we can take our blender pen and we can lighten this up. And the other thing about doing this is it will give you a fuzzier edge. Because trust me, I am the queen of sitting here going, oh, that doesn't look very fuzzy. Oh, that doesn't look like clouds. So you can really kind of play around. So if you were going to buy a few core sets, say for instance you were going to buy yourself the elephant set, a great place to start would be with the stormy greys. Grab yourself a set of the greens and grab yourself the rosy pinks. So you could grab, or even if you won't get the rosy pinks, get yourself the depth and shadows because that gives you a blender. And by having a blender, you can create yourself different shades. So with just 3 sets, you could create yourself tons and tons of different scenes. And all of a sudden, I look like I have an elephant who's on a nice sunshiny day in the middle of a grass-filled field. And I could do tons and tons of practice. I can create lots of different things just with 3 sets of alcohol markers. So they really are totally versatile. There's lots of practice. As I say, if you head to the Hedgehog Hollow YouTube channel, there's an alcohol marker skill builder class. It's totally free to take. There's a whole playlist there. We review lots of different types of alcohol markers, including the Nouveau ones, which I can, different conclusions for different things. But, I go through the fact that they're a great value option. You get the 3 different shades that blend together for a great price. And of course, we always have our Tonic coupon codes now too. And then we go through the idea of starting on vellum, different blending things, different flicking techniques, things you can do with the different nibs. So you can create flowers and grass and hearts and all sorts of different things just with the nibs themselves. So I'm going to catch up on your comments because apparently Greg got busted too.
So apparently elephants fall into a group called neurungulates, which refers to the fact that they have toenails rather than hooves.
Huh.
And an elephant foot is designed in such a way that the elephant actually walks on the tips of its toes. Is that what makes them such good ballerinas?
They're not good ballerinas.
I think elephants are a good ballerina.
They don't make good. I thought hippos were good ballerinas.
Oh, is it hippos
I
that
think
do
it's
ballerina?
hippos. Because I had a stamp set the other day that hippos were doing ballet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was elephants.
Anyway. Lots of people sharing. Thank you everyone who's shared. We will do the giveaway in just a second. So lots of people loving the Nouveau. Greg's on about the sticky sheets. Yes, they're sticky sheets.
It's always the sticky sheets.
So alcohol evaporates. Yes, they do. Can the markers be refilled? No, they can't. But we are working on the fact that later in the year you'll be able to buy these as singles. So if you run out of one particular colour, you'll be able to just refill or restock that one colour rather than having to buy the trio. So that will be there for you. See, they're saying they want the lens, but they're not going to beat up on me.
I know. They're being nice. We've got a very nice audience. But they crucially said we need the lens. That's the crucial bit.
So lots of you loving this as well. Where are the extra coupon codes? So we have the 10% off the entire store. That is in the video description, either above, below, beside me. Crafty Girly for your question. If you want the extra coupon code, you need to hop on over to the Hedgehog Hollow, which is my blog. We don't often mention it in the lives, but Tonic said I can mention it this week because we have a special one on the Craft Perfect paper, and all of the samples we showed you this evening all use different Craft Perfect papers. So if you want to stock up on that, you can do. Lots of you sharing as well. So lots of discussions on elephant feet. I will come back and revisit the elephant feet later. I will revisit those later as well. So thank you so much for all of you as well. Lots of discussions on elephant feet. Anyway, thank you for discussions on elephant feet, Greg. So I hope you have enjoyed learning about the adorables this evening. We have elephants. We have elephants. We have hedgehogs, we have skunks, we have sloths, and we have gophers, and we have kitty cats. So we have lots of options. Whatever your favourite animal is, I think we pretty much have them all covered here. Here this evening. If you have any questions after the live, you can always leave them in the comments. We try to revisit them as often as we can too. We also put this on YouTube afterwards as well, because I know how hard it can be to sometimes find Facebook Lives after the events. You can check that out on YouTube. Just Google Tonic Studios USA Live. You should be able to find us, or search for Hedgehog Hollow. You'll find me there too. And so you can find the alcohol marker skill builder. You can find all of those Nouveau ideas. Lots of Nouveau drop ideas coming up that we've just had. There's instant Nouveau drops. There was different types of Nouveau drops, including a Tonic Studios download that we did together. There was how to use the new Nouveau Dream Drops as a background. Lots and lots of ideas for you. Don't forget about that March Madness sale too. But I'm going to quickly choose a winner for this week's giveaway. So I'm just going to stop. And the closest shared was Jennifer Thomas Snellen. So congratulations, Jennifer. Send us a message with your snail mail address in and we'll get a Tonic Studios goodie bag out to you. Thank you everyone for joining us this week. We hope you've enjoyed following along, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing all about the different types of elephants too. And I hope you learned something about the alcohol markers as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to join us 8 p.m. Eastern next week here on the Tonic Studios USA Facebook page, where we have the next Tonic Studios kit launch. We'll see you then. Happy stamping, everyone. Bye.